The 1973 Collegiate Sport from season 4 is all finished. A couple of comments as that in case anyone is wondering and they're looking in old Schwinn catalogs, you would notice that in the 1973 catalog, this bike was not available in Sunset Orange. And again, I've said this before in previous seasons, I name the bikes by the year that they were manufactured according to their serial number, not the year that they would have appeared in the catalog. So this bike was actually made in December of 1973 and was available for the 1974 catalog year. So that means we have a new season, which means we need a new bike to work on. That's what's happening on this episode of Featherstone Bicycles. The bike we'll be working on for season 5 is a bit of a unicorn, at least for me. It's a 1980 Varsity Deluxe. The reason I say it's a bit of a unicorn for me is for two reasons. This bike introduced in 1980 in the Schwinn line two features that were unique, but also pretty short-lived. The first is what Schwinn called the front freewheel, or the FF, and as opposed to the rear hub being a freewheel, if you pedaled backwards, you were actually pedaling back essentially around the hub or the bottom bracket. What this allowed you to do, because the rear hub was always moving, or the rear sprockets were always moving, was it allowed you to shift gears even though you weren't pedaling. The second feature that was unique is what Schwinn called the positron shifting system, which, as opposed to a true friction shifter, this shifting system had clicks that changed one gear at a time. So I guess you could say it was a precursor to the modern day indexing system. Both of these features are completely unique to me. I've never worked on a bike with either one of them, so that's why I call it a bit of a unicorn. Let's do a initial walk around and see what condition we're in. It's 27-inch wheels, tires, and they're in very bad shape. So we'll be replacing those. I've actually already ordered them and received them. The cranks are very rusty, as is the chainring guard. Pedals are, as usual, in pretty bad shape. Fortunately, all four of the reflectors are there. And because this is a later model, Chicago-made Schwinn and a road bike, it does have the rear reflector, the front reflector, and the wheel reflectors. We have a standard issue seat from back in those days, all the appropriate hardware. We do have the wrong color handlebar tape on there, but I do have some tape to match this, what Schwinn called sky blue color, for the paint job on the frame and the fork. Handlebars are pretty rusty, but if you're a regular viewer to the channel, you know we take care of that. The rims are very rusty. Front tire is in about as good a shape as the rear tire, which is not good at all. and there's the the front reflector. System used a special kind of cable, and fortunately the bike shop I received that bike from had two brand new old stock cables of that sort, so I'll be using one for this project and keeping one if I ever run across this system again in the future. As I said, it's 27-inch wheels, and the frame size is measured from the center of the bottom bracket up to the top of the seat tube post of the frame is 24 inches. So let's get started tearing it down. Regular viewers of the channel will know what's going on here. I write down on the whiteboard as I'm doing the walkthrough and as I'm doing the initial teardown, all the things that I think I need. Usually this list grows or shrinks as time goes on, and you'll see that the first item there, the tires, tubes, and rim strips, I've actually already acquired, and the bottom item, the sky blue handlebar tape, I've also already acquired that. The only thing that I think I need is the handlebar tape cap. That says tap, it should say tape. Everything else has a question mark next to it because I'm not sure we're actually going to need that, but more on that later. get off turned out to be this little guy, which holds shifter cables on the down tube. And there's 4 of them. The first 3 came off no problem. This one was rusted on so much that I sprayed penetrating oil on it, left it for a long time, sprayed it on again, left it for a long time, then finally resorted to some heat, and I essentially had to ruin it, I think. The Phillips head is almost stripped out, and I had to use a needle nose pliers on the inside here to turn it. So yeah, little parts can be the biggest problem. But we finally got it all done. Everything is off the frame and put on to our shelf. There's the wheel, the back wheel, the front wheel, and then almost all the parts, including the front freewheel assembly, which will be interesting to get into to see how that works. The reason I say it's almost all the parts is because I've got the brakes and the shifters and derailleurs on here on the bench. The brakes are here because, like the 73 Breeze we worked on in season 2, these appear to be the original cables, and the stops are still on there, and they seem to be in pretty good shape. So I'm thinking I can still use them. Here's the one for the rear brake as well. On the shifters, I was told that this is a special cable, and I was looking at that cable through the plastic bag that the ones that I picked up came in, and I'm not so sure I have the right cables. So I left everything assembled, and I've got this off from the handlebar stem, or as I like to call it, the gooseneck. I do see it is 2 different kinds of cables, one that goes to the front and one that goes to the rear. So I'm going to have to carefully take those apart and make sure I've got the right pieces. Thanks for sticking with me, and I hope to see you next time on Featherstone Bicycles.